In this video, I'm going to be talking about the scariest moment I had during my time in AEW, where Miro launched me off the AEW Grand Slam stage in front of 20,000 people. I'll be giving you the inside scoop of how this whole angle came to be and how it felt getting put through that table and taking that fall, as well as a fun backstory of what I did after the show was over. Between 2021 and 2023, I wrestled for AEW. Now, I'm traveling the country, wrestling every weekend on the independent scene, trying to reach my goal of getting another TV contract. But in the meantime, I've been streaming on Twitch, putting out a podcast where I talk about what's fun in wrestling each week, and making videos like this, giving you stories about my time in AEW. And if you really like the stories, I'd really appreciate it if you click the subscribe button and like the video. Now, it was only a month after I had got signed on the first ever episode of AEW Rampage, and I had no clue if I would even be involved in AEW Grand Slam. It was the first AEW Grand Slam in Arthur Ashe Stadium, which holds 20,000 people. But the week prior, I wrestled Miro again in a rematch on Rampage, and Sammy Guevara came out and made the save when Miro was beating me up after the show. This was setting up a big title match between Miro and Sammy Guevara in Rochester, New York. 1 week after all of this was taking place. The day I got to the show, it was told that me and Sammy Guevara would have a cue card segment on the Rampage edition of Grand Slam. And then Tony Khan came with a real interesting idea. But I think it's better if you hear it from Tony himself.
I want to put a crash pad here. It doesn't need to be here the whole show, but for Rampage, I want something here because I think we should toss Fuego off and have you down and then make you like watch it or whatever. That'd be great.
That's right. Forbes did a video piece for their YouTube channel where they followed Tony Khan around with cameras on the day of AEW Grand Slam. You can even spot me in the background in the same coat I wore on Rampage, practicing the drop. There was going to be crash pads down there where I could test the fall. Which the crazy part is, as much as I am a daredevil, I never took a fall like this, especially not on TV. I'd only been put through a table one other time, and that time was by accident. The day that the Good Brothers debuted on AEW Dynamite, I wasn't even supposed to get put through a table, but Luke Gallows grabbed the wrong guy, and I ended up taking a powerbomb through the table unexpectedly. What an insane way to get put through a table the first time. So when Tony suggested this, I was up for it. The crazy part about it is that stage was 12 to 15 foot high, and the margin of error for me to hit these tables was incredibly small. If he threw me too far, there was a chance for injury. If he didn't throw me far enough, there was a chance for injury. And we only get one chance to do this, so we had to do it right. My nerves were definitely at an all-time high that night. Though I'm not scared of heights, the thought of screwing up in front of that many people, and even worse, if it goes wrong, the possibility of hurting myself, those thoughts consumed my mind all day long leading up to the moment. I can vividly remember the butterflies I had in my stomach right before Sammy Guevara's music hit and we went out on that stage. But if there's anything you need to know about Fuego Del Sol is that I thrive under pressure. So when we got out there and Miro first attacked me from behind, I knew it was my time to fly. I jumped on Miro's back and started choking him before he slammed me extremely hard on the unpadded stage. I can still remember the thud of the sound that my body made when I hit the ground. Then he picked me up and he launched me through the air. And at that moment, the whole world went in slow motion. A lot of people would probably be surprised to know the first thing that I felt laying there after taking an extreme bump like that one was relief. I was relieved. I was so incredibly happy that the spot went well, that I didn't hurt myself, that I landed safely, that it was kind of hard to not hold back a smile while laying there with the camera on me. It was one of the first big angles I'd got to be a part of since being a part of AEW, and I thought it went off without a hitch. It really helped build the story for why Sammy wanted to win his match against Miro the following week. And then he did, and I got to be a part of it and help give him his championship, raise his hand, lift him up while confetti fell. What an awesome moment with my best friend. And speaking of awesome moments with my best friend, because Arthur Ashe Stadium was close to New York City, me, Alan Angels, and Griff Garrison got to drive to downtown New York and go to Times Square after I took that insane bump. So at 1 a.m., me and two of my best friends was sitting in Times Square taking hilarious photos with each other, celebrating the great night I had just had. I know it's kind of crazy to say that in this crazy wrestling business, that after taking an insane table bump that you could be happy, but I was. Then a fun angle to sell my injuries at an independent show the following weekend. I was in Houston, Texas for New Texas Pro Wrestling, wrestling Mysterious Q. And for the first time in my career, I taped up my ribs. And it made for an interesting story and a different angle for the match, which I consider to be one of my best independent matches ever, which you can check out in the description below. A month into my run, in a big angle for the TNT Championship, getting tossed off a stage in front of 20,000 people and it going off without a hitch, and then celebrating with my friends in Times Square later that night is one of the coolest moments I've ever had in wrestling. And I am so thankful that I got to experience that night. And I wanted to share it with you here on this video. But if you want to know what I think of the other wrestlers I got to work with in AEW, click this video here, and I'll see you every Wednesday for a brand new Fuego Del Sol video on this channel.